Dante.
And hey, I'm Dana.
And welcome to the Dante Show.
What's up, Village? It's your boy Kwame, the man with the plan behind the stands. Before we get into it, do me a favor. If you are on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, hit that share button so people can see what the fuss is all about. Don't worry if it's the end of the show. They can catch the replay. We're trying to spread the love instead of spreading the lies, y'all. All right, let's get into it. Did you know that our boy Dante Morrison is a best-selling author? Do you like smut? Yes, smut. Well, these books are filled with it. Check out The End of the Rainbow, followed by the sequel, Yesterday Clarified. You can get them on Amazon, or if you are tired of giving Jeff Bezos the time of day, you can visit www.dantemorrison.com, where, in fact, you will find out more about the motivational, inspirational, hilarious host known as Dante. Mr. Morrison, if you're nasty. He is not only the host of TDS, he is a public health advocate, motivational speaker, and community change agent. Articles, interviews, blogs, podcasts, vlogs, and more. You name it, and Dante has done it. Speaking of vlogs, have you subscribed to the Dante Show YouTube? Now, every villager should be subscribed. The more the channel grows, the bigger TDS messaging becomes. It's really simple. Go to www.youtube.com/Dante Morrison. And also, did you want to be a guest on the Dante Show? Or do you want to book Dante or Dana on your platform? Stop. Don't inbox him, don't email him, or even call him. You know what you need to do? Go ahead and open your handy-dandy smartphone or Wi-Fi enabled device and send an email to info@pyromedianetwork.com and request your presence on the show. It's 2021, y'all, and Dante and Dana has got management. So, let's conduct business. Speaking of management, the Dante Show is produced by Pyro Media Network. We are a Black-owned digital marketing and video production agency helping businesses and brands make an impact with their message. We also help businesses navigate what we call the biggest communication shift in over 500 years, social media. So, if you have a business, brand, or influence, and you want to take it to the next level, contact us today. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you on the next. Boom.
And I'm just saying, what's up? Why you do that? Let me fix myself. Is it a delay?
Yes, it is.
It is a delay.
What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? What's going on, good people? Oh, they came back. I thought they left. Get out of here. We got a show to do.
So you do the intro. Go ahead.
Nope.
Go ahead, do the intro.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to another round of the Dante Show. I am the co-host, Mr. Dana Dane, himself in the flesh. And this young man right here to my right and your left is Dr. Dante Morrison. Give it up, good people. Let's go. Give us some black hearts. Give us some black hearts.
What's up, everybody? I'm your boy Dante Morrison, and we are here for another round of the Dante Show. Today is Monday, September 13th, and we have had a phenomenal day thus far. For those that are following me on social media, I'm already sure you are more than aware of what I am going through, so I'm a little bit weary on tonight. But you know what? God is good, and God is still in the blessing business.
You better
And
say that. That'll preach.
The devil is not gonna win. The devil is not gonna win. So I am here. I am here despite it all. I am here. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to rehash it. I'm not going to recap it. But all you got to do is go to my page. Go to my page and look at what I posted on today, and you'll get the recap. I don't want to keep digging it up and dredging it up, but whatever happened, happened. And it is what it is, but we are still going to be great, right?
All day.
Because we are here. I'm going to say we're here. We are queer.
We're brothers. We're happy and we're colored.
So we are here for another episode, and tonight we have a phenomenal guest. We have Sheryl Bailey. Sheryl Bailey is an attorney. Sheryl is an attorney, and she's gonna we're gonna dissect a lot of stuff that we need to know as people of color and how to navigate through certain portions of the system. So Sheryl is here to give us some phenomenal conversations. But you know what? Every episode, myself and Dana give you an opportunity to chime in, share commentary, share content, wake up the thread, and all that. So you know what? Let's liven it up right now. So put in the comment section how your day has been thus far. You know, and I will say that after that, is there a delay? Do y'all see a delay?
Is y'all delayed?
But for those of you that did see, Lanice, what's up? What's up? What's up, Lanice? What's up? So let me say this. So those of you that did happen to read my post earlier and saw what I'm going through, let me tell you, your comments and your responses gave me exactly what I needed. It gave me exactly what I needed. I was really just down and out, and I was feeling some kind of way. I was hurt. I was a little broken, but reading your comments and watching how you guys would respond, or how you guys reacted, or what you guys suggested I do to make this situation better, it gave me, I was tickled. I was tickled. So I'm sorry for the delay. I don't know what's going on. Today has just been a day. So if it's a delay, I apologize, but just follow us. Just follow us. We're going to have a good conversation. So yeah, to know that you got friends that really have your back, to have friends that really rock with you, to have friends that are really like, yo, you know, forget the haters, forget what they gotta say, you're still a good dude. That really helps. And I although we get affirmation, you know, spiritually I'm good. You know, we get affirmation from all areas, but sometimes you need that little, man, lift your chin up, forget that, you good. And I honestly needed that today, because it really, in the midst of all that I have been dealing with, all that I've been going through, and I may seem transparent, but I'm really not. You know, I don't tell the deep stuff. I just tell what I know will help somebody else get through their situation. But a lot of stuff I go through, I don't really share it. So today was one of the most transparent things that I decided to share, because it happened directly on Facebook. But I was also reminded by someone that I really value immensely. This person called me and said, yo, you know, you never got to prove yourself. You never got to prove who you are, because you have a voice, you have a platform, you have a name, you are somebody, people know you, you know, and the person that talked about you, who is that person? You know, like in comparison to who you are, and you're ascending, and that person is staying right here. So never let someone that is right here, you know, right here, cause you to come down from where you are to meet them where they're at. And I want to share this really quick story that was told during one of my ministry classes. The story is about, you ever heard the story? It's about an elephant and a fly. So if I can remember it, elephant and a fly. So there was this little bitty fly, and there's the big old elephant, and the fly kept buzzing in the elephant's ear, you know, and the elephant would kind of, you know, do the ear thing, and then the fly would go away, and then the fly would come back and buzz in the elephant's ear, and the elephant would do the ear thing and fly back, and then the fly would come back again and be all up in here and whatnot, and then the elephant, you know, the fly would go away. Well, then one time the fly came and got up in the elephant's ear and buzzing around and annoying, you know, just, you know, doing all this and, you know, doing all that, you know, and then the elephant lost it. Like the elephant just went on his hind legs and screaming and hollering and making the elephant noise. Make an elephant noise for me. He's making the elephant noise and all this kind of stuff. Now, the moral of the story is the people did not see the fly. The people saw the elephant. All right. So some of us, we have flies in our lives that people don't see. They don't see the fly, but they see us because we're the big presence. We're the ones that's visible. So when we go off and we lose it, the fly just buzzes away. But nobody saw the fly that got on the elephant's nerves, that annoyed. It was a ministry class, and nobody saw the fly that really buzzed the elephant and just really drove the elephant crazy. All they saw was how the elephant responded. So for those of you that have a lot of flies in your life, and you just doing this, hold your peace, because that fly will die, because flies really only live for 24 hours.
Look at my brother.
So I'm just so I'm just saying, because it was doing an example. See, I was doing an example, bro. I was doing a fly. So I was a fly. He was an elephant. So a lot of us, we may have these flies in our lives, but these flies, they're not gonna last for long. And if you are an elephant, you are strong, you are mighty, you are powerful. Don't let that fly cause you to lose your composure. Today, low key, I let a fly cause me to lose my composure, because that fly has been bugging me for at least 15 years. That fly has been really in my ear, driving me batty, and I became a loud elephant. So, but it was just today was my turn, I guess. So yeah, so that's my words of encouragement for you, my words of wisdom. So Dana,
I don't think we need a drop today, because that was beautiful. And I don't, how when a preacher preaches and a preacher gets up after him and tries to outdo him because it's his church.
Right.
I don't want to do that. So I want to let that settle in. I'm gonna be caring to you how you feel.
Oh.
If for the lack of, I don't know the word I'm looking for.
But your drops usually
Yeah, but people need to let that resonate in them.
Let them what?
Let that resonate with them. Let it just stay with them.
Okay.
Let it stay with them.
Okay.
And I don't want to overshadow that, because my drops, it could just I don't want to touch it.
Okay, I get it.
And I could piggyback off of what you're saying.
Go ahead.
And always it's always in some situations is to let your silence be your violence.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't say anything and when you don't have a comeback, that person doesn't know what you're thinking. They don't know what your reaction is going to be. They don't know what's going to happen when they see you. You know what I'm saying? But if you go off and go back and forth on social media,
mm-hmm.
that is so stupid to me. You never see. We know one of the biggest musical families in the world, and we know they have issues.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally from being friends with some of them that they have issues.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever see them going back and forth at each other on the internet?
No.
You never see this family going back and forth on the internet at each other.
Right.
So when people on a normal level do that, it just shows a sign of weakness on the instigator's part.
I agree.
And if we allow ourselves to come down to their level and go back and forth with them, then we're writing the same smut or zhuzh. They're sitting back laughing and waiting for you to respond.
Right.
They want you to respond because they're going to get a kick out of that. They're going to get a kick out of your response. They're going to get a kick. Oh, I got him now. And then it'll just keep going. Just keep going. So just let your silence be your violence, and don't even respond.
I already responded.
I'm just saying,
the response was legendary. The response was I reached down into the pit of my being. And the gag about it, I was talking to another trusted person. The gag about it was you ever notice there's always that person that should not be talking about anybody that's talking about folks?
Yeah.
It's like you of all people need to really be quiet. And I think I posted last week about this is not the season to really poke people.
Yeah.
Because people are going through a lot. People are going through a lot, and we don't know who's dealing with what. And I know back in the day, we used to always make jokes about, they're going to go postal. They're going to go postal. Well, in this season, a lot of folks is right there on that postal edge. And you never know. Today may not be the day to come for them. And I think that's really how I felt on yesterday. when I saw the post and when it was shared with me and I looked at it, it knocked the wind out of me. And
because
I'm like, you gotta be kidding. And I went to sleep on it. I said, let me go to sleep on this, because if I respond right now, it's gonna really be it's gonna be completely out of character for me, because I try my best not to use profanity, especially on social media.
Yeah.
I don't, and I have a lot of we know a lot of folks that can cuss up a storm, that will cuss you up.
There's someone here right now, especially on YouTube.
Yeah, they'll cuss up a storm, but I don't want to be that person. I always want to, carry myself with a certain sense of decorum. Hey, Paul, what's up, Jenny? Tanetta, what's up? I see y'all. So it's like you try to be that good person, and they just keep that fly. They keep being that fly, and then the minute you go off, it's like, wow, what, why are you talking to me like that?
Mm-hmm.
They play the victim, and it's like, oh, now you a victim, but you ain't told nobody what you've been doing to me all these years, not days, years. Nicole, I cut my hair 2 months ago. Nicole, I ain't had dreads in 2 months. Nicole, I'm a little hurt. I'm a little sad, but it's okay. I'm still gonna love you and follow you everywhere you go, Nicole. But yeah, so yeah, that's just my thing.
I think, like I said, I think that some things, say your piece and just let it go. Because again, going back and forth, you only going down to the level.
Yeah.
And you and I are trying to go places in our careers, with the show, and stuff like that.
Right.
So let them come. Let the flies come. Swat them away. And
that's for all of y'all. Swat your flies away. So Rye Bud. Don't
curse, Ryan. You're
Team Holiness. Ryan, you Team Holiness.
And your bishop watches this show because I told him about it.
Right. You a Team Holiness. Jay, my frat, you a Team Holiness. It's all about the word. Fight them with the word. Fight them through prayer. Don't fight them with your words. Fight them through prayer.
My brother said God gives us battles. What did he say?
To the strongest soldiers. The strongest soldiers.
Yeah.
Amen. I get that. Real talk. So, just let today's example of what I'm experiencing, because your day may come when you got to sit there and bridle your tongue and be like, oh, what I want to say, I can't say it because I can drag you for filth.
Right.
I can ruin your entire existence, but I'm not going to do it.
Right.
All right. Hey, so listen, we're going to get into tonight's show. Before we get into tonight's show, Pyro Media Network has a new show coming. It's a new show. It is a new person. And, Pyro Media is all about diversity. So we have the Thais Report. We have 10-minute tips with Kim. We have Titan Capri. We have the Donta Show, we have the link, but then we're bringing on Daniel J. So for those that are not up in the game of Daniel J is a social influencer. Daniel J is a singer. Daniel is all kind of stuff. So
he curses.
And Daniel curses.
He will curse you
right.
out. Yeah.
And Daniel is launching his show on Pyro Media. So we're going to step out and we're going to give y'all a chance to see the promo for the upcoming show. I think it's called Daniel J. I don't know what it's called, but y'all will see in a minute. We'll be right back after this commercial. And then we're going to bring on tonight's guest, Sheryl Bailey Esquire, and we're going to dig into some conversations about social justice issues and what we need to do to better our community. Is your elbows oiled?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, they oil. Look at that.
Okay.
Feet oil?
Feet.
Whoa.
I mean, they don't see the waist down.
I thought you had on tap shoes.
Tubes like. All right, so listen, we're gonna go to commercial. We're gonna let you see Daniel J. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So we are back. We are back. Thank you for watching the Donta Show. So we're going to get into tonight's special guest, Sheryl Bailey Esquire. We're going to talk about the legal system from I don't want to say a black point of view, but we about to be black. We're going to have black conversation. So this is going to be time for y'all to, I'm not going to say ask questions because she ain't here to give y'all free legal advice, but we're going to talk about some systemic issues that are really getting on our nerves within the black community. All right. So we're going to keep it real, raw, and 100. So without further ado, please welcome to the Donta Show for the very first time, the incomparable Sheryl Bailey Esquire.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
What up? How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Well, finally got you on.
Now I got to start shutting my mouth in court instead of cussing everybody out under my breath.
Right, Sheryl.
I got to try to hold my tongue.
You can't let them flies where you out in court. You can't cuss the judge out. Can't be held in contempt. I watch Hard Work.
No, I got to free the people, so I always got to say something.
So Sheryl, we're good. I am so happy to have you here. So, first of all, let's give it up for a black queen that's a lawyer. Come on, village, give it up for a black queen.
Let's go.
We always talk about we need representation, and Sheryl looks like us, speaks on behalf of us, knows our language, knows our problems, and it's all about that. If anything ever happens, I would like a black attorney. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but we're going to discuss that. So, Sheryl, let the folks know a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you with, what you about, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I'm rooting for everybody black, but I am a Los Angeles County public defender. Everything I say here is my own opinion. It does not include Los Angeles County or the public defender's office, but my goal is to definitely to make sure that my job no longer exists. It is to hopefully lead to the abolishment of the system as we know it, to empower Black people to know their rights, to encourage Black people to not be afraid of the system, and to fight for their rights and to fight the system in general, because it is unjust. It is not the criminal justice system. It is an enslavement system, and you have to understand that going in. So when my clients tell me this is unfair, this is unjust, I tell them it is. This is the system that you either chose to walk into or you are being pushed into, and now is trying to figure out how we're going to go from there.
I love that. So you tell them up front that you are aware that the system is unjust, and that's something that we don't oftentimes hear from legal representation. It's always like it's kind of the other side of it. So how do your clients receive that, knowing that they got this person that's like, what you mean is you ain't about the man?
No, I mean the clients know. We all know the system is unjust. The only people that unjust is the people on TV. Right, we all know it's not like Law and Order.
Right, but sometimes we may see what we would call a sellout. We'll see this black lawyer come through, and we still feel like that black lawyer understands the obstacles we're facing as black people. It's like, oh, you working for the man, you part of the man, you part of the problem.
People tell me that all the time. They say, you are friends with the DA, you talk to the judge. I was like, it is literally my job to talk to the DA and to the judge. Usually what you see is me developing a relationship so that I can get you either the best offer or get you in a position where I can get what I want for you.
Right.
That's what's happening. That's what you see is my interaction in court. Every lawyer has a different type of personality. As you can see from my personality, I'm not stiff. I keep it real. Lawyers tell me all the time, you just say it how it is. Yes. If your offer is bullshit, I'm going to tell you your offer is bullshit. If I'm going to tell the client the same thing, like me and you both know you didn't have 2 drinks of beer. You had about 6 or 7 shots, okay? But this is what we're going to do to fix the situation. When you tell me the system is unjust, I'm not going to try to convince you that it is, because it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's start with the truth. The system was designed to put you in jail for free labor. Full stop, period.
And when you say put you in jail, who are you talking about?
You're talking about Black and brown people. Okay. Specifically, during the end of slavery, if you go watch the the documentary 13 by Ava DuVernay on Netflix, she does an excellent job of describing how at the end of slavery, the 13th Amendment specifically says that you cannot take away a person's liberty without the due process of law.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what they started doing? Creating laws to due process that ass.
Right. So how are you received by other lawyers?
I mean, the one good thing about a lot of my colleagues, especially younger colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
Our office is not diverse enough, but it is pretty diverse. And so a lot of us have what I would call systematic anger, problems with authority. So everybody's just trying to disrupt authority anyway.
Right.
A lot of people are trying to be a lot more conscious of, racial justice, racial issues. So a lot of people just see the law as a law within itself, but you have to look at it from a holistic approach. If you don't know what the root of the issue is, you're always going to be dealing with the symptoms. So incarceration, mass incarceration, all those things are just the symptom of that's just the fruit. The root of the tree is white supremacy. So you have to understand that all these things that we're seeing are just the fruit of the tree. Mm-hmm. And that we have to go all the way down to the root of the situation. So a lot of our colleagues, they don't want to deal with the root. They like fighting the fruit. And everybody has their purpose.
And my thing, I'm sorry, Dan, my thing is this, because you're speaking like this, and I'm looking at the comments on the thread, and everybody is in agreement. We all looking like, yo, we know the system is skewed. We know the system is messed up. The system is designed to enslave, Black and brown individuals. We know that the system is not made for us. It's not fair and all that. But when it comes to combating the system, it seems like we're on this hamster wheel of trying to make change, especially within Black and brown communities. I mean, last year is prime example of just, how tired we are of the same thing. And historically, we can look at all of our music back to the 60s up until NWA F the Police has been saying the same exact thing. Why is there no change? What are we doing? What are we not doing that would incite the needed change?
I think there's a lot of things going on. Number one is that we feel that change is instantaneous. Slavery was a 400-year process. And then we had 200 more years of oppression on top of that. We can't march for 60 years and be like, now we're going to have change. That's just not how it works. And then 2, we don't understand how the system works. And 3, we're divided against each other. So we have a lot of things to work on. So one of the things that we have to work on is understanding what are we actually fighting for? And that's learning the difference between the fruit and the root. And understanding what are we actually combating and having a strategy towards that combat. So what can we change? There's a huge divide in the Black community and even the brown community about whether or not we need police or not. Mm-hmm. And that is huge because when you tell Black people that we need to defund the police, there is an uproar about defunding the police. Mm-hmm. Because Black people feel like we need the police. We need the police because we need to be safe. I need to be safe. Please help save me. The police ain't never saved nobody. It's not like on television where crime happens, you call the police and they come. That does not happen. What happens is a crime occurs. You call the police. After the crime occurs, the police come and then they allegedly investigate the crime. What they really do is they write a report based on the information they get, then they give it to a detective. The detective calls the people, then they write another report, and then another detective will go out and maybe arrest the people, or they'll go to a judge and say, hey, this is all the people we talked to in this report. Here we go. Even a murder. The police don't come to stop the murder. The body's on the ground.
It's already happened.
It's already happened.
The police come. They investigate, they take pictures. So when you talk about, we have to change our concept of Black people about what is safety. Because what happened in the 90s, where our children were 3 strikes law and our children were labeled predators and they stole all the men out of our houses and we're dealing with this mass incarceration, it's the Black people that said, please give us more. It was us. It was the Black Congress. It wasn't just Bill Clinton. It was everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying, please give us more police. We're drowning. We didn't say give us more schools. We did, but that's not what they heard.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't say we need more social programs. Reagan closed down every single psych ward damn near in the country. We didn't say give us more of those things. We said police. They sold us the lie that police will protect us, and that's not what they're here for. That was never their intention. When policing was created, they were created as slave patrol.
Right.
In the South. And in the North, they were created as border patrol to keep people in their certain areas. Mm-hmm. The only investigation they did was for people who could pay for it. But now we're giving billions of dollars every year to an agency that does not protect you. They come after the fact. So people always say, but what about rapists? What about murders? They come after the rape. They come after the murders. Most rapes are not reported. So what can we set up in society that actually deals with those issues?
I think I never looked at it that way. Go ahead, Dana.
No, it's funny because you touched on something where you said, I'm gonna go back a little bit when you said we have to come together first in order to come together to fight for something else. And you said we're fighting against each other because we're all divided. And we often talk on our show before, we don't even know what our Blackness is, because you have this Black, then you have the woke black,
right.
Then you have so we're fighting with the I'm gonna use it in this term and maybe you can understand. We have the underground hip hop, and then we have the gangster hip hop. Now we all Black, but you got them over there and you got us over here. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. We have to find a way to come together first on a certain level before we can move to certain levels. That's why I like what you said. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. Slavery was 400 years. Oppression was 200 years. We can't walk 60 days and think something's going to change, but people got to be willing to change. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to, a lot of Afro-American people are not willing to change, because you always hear that saying, oh, they're old, they're set in their ways. You know what I'm saying?
But I think what are they change to what?
I'm not change, but listen.
I think it's a little deeper than that.
I'm sure it is.
It's all those differences were set by design, starting in slavery. So most of what we're experiencing is post-traumatic slave syndrome, because we're still working through those issues. And so and this is why I focus on white supremacy so much, is that when you put everything through the lens of dealing with the root, which is dealing with white supremacist ideology, you take away a lot of the other arguments. So a lot of the times why we're arguing between ourselves is because we're making the arguments that white people want us to make.
Exactly.
So whenever something happens to us, we're talking about, well, what about Black on Black crime? That is a myth. We're talking about, well, why don't we take care of our own communities? Because we're not funded. So that's a myth. Like, we're talking about all these things that are occurring that we have no control over because they divert our focus into other things. So yes, criminal justice reform is very important. I believe in it. I think we have to fight for it. And we're fighting so many things. But what we're really doing is taking care of the fruit. If we're not having a focused attention on taking care of the root, which is white supremacy, then you can take care of the fruit all day, and all you're going to do is grow more white supremacy. W.E. Du Bois talked about that, and that he says in order for Black people to grow, you have to destroy all the, sometimes I lose my words, but all the roots as far as governmental institutions
Come on, birth it, Sheryl. Birth it.
All the institutions of white supremacy,
Right.
which means that you can't have Black people are not going to think differently unless you teach them differently.
And I
Black
think
people are not going to spend money differently unless they own their money differently. They get banks differently. Black people are not going to think about the criminal justice system unless you change their definition of safety and what we need in our communities. So I hear Black people talking bad about D.A. Gascon. And he went from being a prosecutor and persecutor of Black people. It almost reminds me of the conversion from Saul to Paul, to persecuting us, into seeing the error of his ways and saying, no, now I have to undo the damage I did in the 90s. And he's the first person really trying to implement overturning 3 strikes, overturning all these things in order to get our fathers, our mothers, our children out of jail. And so the question becomes, how are we going to make these fundamental changes? When we understand that our fight is not with each other, but actually to look at the institutions of white supremacy and how they influence our lives and then attack those institutions, things like defund the police won't sound so outrageous and dangerous. Things like abolishing prisons won't sound crazy. Black people wouldn't be fighting Mexicans about INS and talking about immigration like they own something. What do you own? You should be trying to deport people out of Africa, not out of America.
I think you unpacked a lot.
Right.
You unpacked a lot. You are giving birth to a phenomenal conversation. There's one thing specifically that I want us to really focus on in the midst of this conversation. Everybody, please, first of all, please tag some friends up in here, because me and Dana noticed that unless we are talking about foolishness or clowning around, our viewers go down. Some people even inbox me, you and Dana, it's just so deep sometimes. Well, what should we be talking about?
Right.
I mean, sometimes we gotta go deep, because otherwise the hamster wheel, we're gonna stay on it. But we gotta educate ourselves. So I'm asking everybody right now, tag some friends, get some folks up in here, because this is relevant information for all of us. It really is. So, but what I want to talk about, and you pointed out, was white supremacy. What's up, frat? Was white supremacy. And the thing about it, when it comes to white supremacy, a lot of Black people, they don't know how covert white supremacy is. They have no idea that white supremacy is in the fabric of a lot of Black communities. So we think we have all this power in our Black communities, but the white supremacist influence is present and we have no idea it's there. Even among the wokest of wokest, they don't even realize that some of their modus operandi is fueled by white supremacist ideology, because they think that white supremacy is the KKK on the back of a horse, riding down your block with a torch and throwing it at your house. Okay. Now that's just overt racism. That's blatant in your face racism. But white supremacy is a construct that is in the fabric of America, and it has infiltrated so many areas of American existence that Blacks don't even know when they are fueling white supremacy. So we have a lot of Black white supremacists.
One of the conversations that we're having right now, that is the biggest trend, that is completely white supremacist capitalism, is hustle culture. Let's talk about it. Hustle culture.
Let's go. Because I know, and I'm glad that Kyrie Sinaj is on here, and so many others are on here that are up on gang about this. Because we have to shift our mindset from the Klan. The Klan, because you so focused on the Klan that the real white supremacist is right next to you saying, yeah, let's stop the Klan, because they know the Klan is really no threat to the system of America. the Klan is a racist movement, but the white supremacist construct, my dissertation was on critical race theory. Critical race theory is so profound, and that's why it is scaring the dog poop out of a lot of white people, because they know that once Black people really grab hold of what critical race theory is all about and educate themselves on it, then we can begin to shift a lot of this stuff that's been imprinted upon us in our communities, in our way of life, and really begin to create a brand new way of living. We have not done that.
I think one of the issues, and I like.
Oh, she ready now. She leaned into the camera. She said, "Let's do this. Let's do
this." Neil said the problem isn't ours to fix, and I like what she said on one way. And another way I want to challenge her, I'm assuming, and it's bad for me to assume, but we don't have time to go through the whole thing. Number one is, this is what I told my therapist, is that, no, I don't have time to be teaching white people anything. They can learn from themselves. Number one, that's part of white.
You sound like Deidre.
White supremacy is that you put the onus on the victim to educate and to destroy what you have put together. But on the flip side of that, it is our onus to break, because we are under the oppressive weight. And I don't know about you, but ain't nobody going to be oppressing me for too much longer. So the way we, using our Afrocentric point of view, start to break white supremacy is we have to understand and see where it lies in our life. Now, if you're Christian, the first thing you need to do is see if you have a plantation preacher or a preacher that's going to tell you that ain't no white people in the Bible. So let's start there. Like, am I willing to change my vision? Because when you read and when you hear, you have pictures. Are you willing to change those pictures in your brain? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you willing to say, well, let's use our critical thinking skills. It is scientific and biblical that the world started in Africa. Whether you think it was through evolution or creation, they was blacker than me.
Right. Period.
So black begets black begets black. And only through the movement into a different climate did lighter skin change come. You can read Francis Quest Wilson and talk about that. So, let's talk about the Caucasus Mountains. The Caucasus. We could talk about that. Mountains. When you start to realize that life and civilization did not begin, and education did not beget in Europe, that they came to Africa to be educated, then you have to understand that everything that you know and the magic of your ancestors, that's why people talk about their ancestors and the magic of our ancestors. When we were snatched away from that, we lost a lot of our history and our magic and our education. And I say magic in the sense that oral history and all the things that were taught down, even the little things that were taught from down, how to do your hair from one person to the next, we lost a whole generations, not one generation, but centuries of generations of information and education that white people kept for themselves. So while we're infighting about whether to take a vaccine or not, please get vaccinated. Infighting about that, when we're infighting about, all these little things, what we're failing to understand is all of it is designed to have a class of people who will forever be subservient to another class of people. Period. And the only way rich people can stay rich is to make sure that poor white people think that they are better than the richest black person or the richest brown person. Period. That's the only way that you can maintain the system the way that it is.
Yeah.
And the criminal justice system is the biggest warehouse to keep people impoverished in the world. And Los Angeles has the biggest jailing system in the world.
The world?
The world.
Oh.
Los Angeles County, not California.
Los Angeles County has the biggest in the world?
Jailer in the world.
Oh.
You're more likely to go to jail in Los Angeles County than Mississippi.
Huh. I know it's big. I know it's global, globally the
Well, because
largest.
just like everything in California, everything's more expensive. You get picked
Right,
up
yeah.
on a misdemeanor in Mississippi, your bail is $1,000. In California, it's $15,000.
Touche. Got it.
So you're talking about
okay.
financial wise, money wise is the biggest.
No,
Or
I'm
just
talking
period.
about bodies.
No, bodies, population.
People's physical bodies being incarcerated.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just to go back real quick to, I want to clarify what Dietrich was talking about. She said her response was, her point was not that we do nothing, but it was that systems will not be dismantled unless white people deal with their racism and privilege. They deal with that, and then we can move it around, but that's why it's taking another 400 years. So white folks need to also deal with their racism and their privilege, to dismantle all the stuff that we see as well.
But they won't.
Well, I don't necessarily believe that's true. I think we can opt out the system.
Expound upon that.
I've always said we have mega churches with 15,000, 20,000, 1 million people. Let's just say churches. Let's not even say agnostic, Muslim, anything. Let's just say Black Christian churches, mega churches, get together with the small little churches. And we go to the Black banks and we say, hey, we're going to get all of our parishioners to pull. One second. We're going to get all of the parishioners to pull all of our money out of predominantly white banks and put them in all Black banks.
But does that tie into what you said earlier about retraining the system, retraining Blacks on how to even use the system? Because if we pull all our money out the white banks, but we still don't have Black businesses to pour their monies back into, isn't that a problem? Because then we're still funneling our Black dollar into the white machine.
So what it would be is that, of course, you'd have to have a convention, and it would take a while, but it wouldn't actually take that long because we do have several Black banks.
That most Black folks don't know about.
Exactly.
Yes.
I learned that in school. A lot of Black folks. So listen, real quick. So if you're on this thread right now, put in the comments a Black-owned bank that you know about. Let the people, make them aware of the Black-owned bank that you know about. Because most Black folks are saying, well, I don't know a Black bank to put my money in, so I'm going to stay with Bank of America. I'm going to stay with Wachovia. I'm going to stay with Chase. I'm going to stay with Union. So put the Black banks that you know, because I'm all about removing the excuses. So it's like ignorance is just a lack of knowledge. So if you don't know where the Black banks are, that's your ignorance, and that's not a bad thing. But people need to know what options they have. So please, if you know about those Black banks, put them in the comment sections.
I'll tell mine. Mine is One United Bank.
One United on Christian. And I believe at one point, I think Janet Jackson and Magic Johnson owned a part of One United Bank, correct?
Yes, and then there's a couple of new ones. There's a lot, actually, there's a lot of them. But what it would take is that the churches to make the agreement, that the church would also bank there, that they would be required to give a certain percentage in Black loans for Black businesses, as well as mortgages. The people who get the Black businesses loans and the people who get the mortgage loans will be required to take certain classes in order to re-educate themselves on how to do, the business so they can be successful. So we can do little things like that. You start small. The thing is, we always want to start humongous. Like, I got to change everything in order to change.
Right, at one time.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. The truth is that this is what white people do. This is what the Jewish community does. This is what the Korean community does. This is what the Mexican community does. This is what every other community does. Mm-hmm. And I actually had a Korean coworker ask me, she was like, I just don't understand why Black people cannot make it when they have so many rich Black people. And I was like, you don't understand. We don't have any institutions.
Okay.
And we don't have a country funding us. So when you're coming from Korea is funding your Korean banks that you have all in Gardena and in Koreatown. When people are coming from Mexico is funding the Mexican banks that they have, in different parts of Los Angeles.
Right.
Who is funding Black people?
That's a good question. Dietrich, you have an answer for that? That's a good question. When you put it like that, you're right. If you go to Koreatown in Los Angeles, they are funded by Korea. Other countries are taking care of their own within America. But you're right. So it's not going to be easy for us. And even Sharon Green said, we need a supply chain, like Amazon, something like that. Blacks need a supply chain. But our dynamics, yes, Dietrich, our dynamics in this country is unique. We were enslaved. We were brought here. We did not come willingly. Others came here willingly and created or replicated what they had back home. You know, what we had back home was lost in the Middle Passage and then beat out of us. So we had to develop a whole new construct of blackness, which emulated whiteness. You know, hence why we have that white supremacist influence in so many areas of the black community. So basically, we need to deconstruct, you know, all that we've been learned, and then have one big old town hall and say, okay, y'all, what's next? What we do now? It's dark outside. We don't have no running water, no electricity. How do we start over? You know,
I say, how about we just start a little bit smaller? When we have conversations with each other, instead of just, because one thing we do like to do as Black people is to immediately start clowning. That's the thing that we like to do. Every conversation just got to be clowning. We clown each other. How about we say, well, let's get to the root. Where is the white supremacy part of the situation? Like, what is the real issue? When we're talking about the criminal justice system, what is the real issue? It's really slavery. So how are we going to keep our kids out of this system? Mm-hmm. What part of the battle am I going to engage myself in? It's not about Black on Black crime. It's not about, I'm not going to have that type of discussion with you anymore, because that's a waste of time. And that's what we need to start. The people who are educated and the people who are know and who take the time, we need to stop having fake arguments with people. I don't have fake arguments with people anymore. I refuse. Look, if we're not going to talk about the roots, then we're not having this conversation. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about Black on Black crime, we're not having this conversation, because we know that Black on Black crime is a myth. The real issue is white supremacy, because they take money out of our communities and create these impoverished situations. So if you want to talk about that, that's the conversation I'm willing to have.
So what part does
people dealing with the actual fruit? The conversation that I want to have is about the root.
So what part does we have white supremacy? Then we have just all out racism. You know, so how does racism get deconstructed in all of this? So at that point, white people do have to take accountability for that. Yes.
Yes, it's a tool. Racism is a tool of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. And so when racists use the tool of racism, then I think one thing that has really come out of like the George Floyd movement and the really young people are really doing a really excellent job using social media to punish racism with cancel culture that people like to call it. I call it you reap what you sow. And I think that people are understand what Trump did was he allowed overt racism to be cool again. And so I think that what the young people are doing and using social media great is making it not acceptable, number one, creating punishments for it, number two, and then backing it up by making all these organizations that's dealing with the legal aspect of it. Because, you know, now we have the Crown Act, we have all these acts. So people are actually doing things. So I like that approach personally. I think there's a lot more that we can do to slap people on the wrist. Like my personal thing now is I'm just calling a spade a spade. I've been in my job for 10 years. If it sounds like a racism, I'm just calling it what it is. I'm like, Now, would you say that to a white person?
Well, I mean,
but you know, or I will make an analogy or whatever in order to bring the point out that it sounds racist to me.
It's not right.
But then how do we get those racists out of positions where they're still in power? Because we have social media, we got cancel culture, we got all that, but we got bigwigs up at the top that are still pulling the puppet strings to racism. You know, what can we do? I mean, I know we talk about, you know, more Black legislators, more Blacks in Congress, more Blacks, you know, doing this. Is that really the solution? How do we get them out of office?
Again, that's not a simple answer. I think it's a multi-level approach.
Right.
One of the things that dealing with white supremacy mentalities, we always think of things dualistically. It's either Black or white, you know, revolution or, you know, use the vote. Like it is all of those things. we have to stop taking an all or nothing approach. We have to stop saying it's just one thing. It's like, yes, we do need new legislators. We need to be raising these kids up to take control of these old people when they're about to start dying, because they're about to start dying. Somebody needs to take over for them. Dianne Feinstein, she need to go. People,
Right.
we need to start grooming people for these positions. I'm sorry, a lot of y'all old preachers need to go too. You need to start grooming people for those positions.
But they
We
pride,
need
though.
to start grooming people.
Well, pride don't keep you alive.
for-
That's what I'm
that.
saying. That's what it
We
is.
also need to stay ready in our homes. If you don't have a felony, you should have a gun. You should be going to the gun range. You should be preparing your food. You should be, getting stuff ready, because it could pop off at any time, and understand that. Don't think that that it's just not going to happen. We live in America and nobody's going to come shooting and we're not going to have a civil war. I don't know that. I don't believe that. Because when I go to the shooting range, white people got bazookas. I don't know what they need a bazooka for, but I'm assuming they need it for me.
Right.
Okay? So I don't
Clint
understand why
Eastwood
you're not
guns.
getting ready.
Like,
If
I
you
don't
ain't got
know.
a felony, I just assume that you should be armed, even if it's just a handgun, and take your kids and everybody to the shooting range. That's just number 2. Number 3, get in where you fit in. Stop complaining on these internets and do something. Outside of my job, I'm also on the board of Through Guidance Industries, which is, a nonprofit. I sit on the Democratic whatever or the other. I don't like them, but I do it anyway. You have to get involved. If you don't know what's going on in your city, then you're really not about this life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get involved on some level, and you have to understand what you're fighting. You understand that racism and white supremacy is a demon.
Yeah.
And you have to know that that is what you're fighting. And that is what's been controlling America and the world for a very long time. You know where we're going. So you can either be proactive and start really taking this seriously, or not. And then we're going to be having the same conversation after they shoot the next Black man or woman or child. We have to stop being reactive. We have to start being proactive. We have to start asking our preachers the hard questions. Why you guys are not connected to a Black church? Why are you banking with Black America? What's going on? I ask my preacher that all the time.
I
You have
love
to
the
be willing to
accountability.
make and conversations uncomfortable, which means you have to not believe everything you hear and read and see.
Because
What is the real
most of the stuff is entertainment. All media, most of it is entertainment. They tell you to get what you want to hear to get you riled up. It's entertainment, and I know it because I've seen it happen. I've seen them saying somebody did something, and that Negro was in there playing pool, and it's like, yo, he's right here. Well, how you on the news? You know what I'm saying? So it's all entertainment to me.
And it's
Sure.
distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're worried about, and it's just distractions. They're talking about Roe v. Wade. If you think they're concerned, white people, these Southern white men banning abortion are actually concerned about abortion, then you're out of your mind. They're not. They absolutely don't care. But they know that you care enough to ruin everything and all of your rights for that. You're going to still vote for this stupid, ignorant person so that you can say you won this one thing for Jesus, even though it ain't done nothing for you or Jesus.
Thank you, Sheryl.
And make sure you vote.
Right, yeah, make sure you vote. Hey, y'all, make sure you vote. The deadline is tomorrow. Tomorrow is a recall day for Newsom, so make sure you get out there and vote if you're not already. So it is 9:00. We didn't get to watch the clock, Sheryl, so we're sorry. It's 9:00, but definitely, I mean, I love everything you said on tonight, especially about the prepare, because we don't know what's coming, and we gotta prepare, or we end up repairing again. So I appreciated your transparency. I appreciated how candid you were about the situation. This definitely can be a part 2, because I think that what everyone was talking about on this thread, we need to unpack it more. It was good because we can't just keep talking about white supremacy and racism and blah, 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 if we're not creating plans of action. And it's all about creating a plan of action. We got to start creating a plan of action because, like you said, the next one, God forbid, is going to happen. It is going to happen again, but we got to get in position to really be ready for when that happens so that it won't happen. How about that? Let's put it that way. So we see them arming up. We like, all right, well, we bought it too. So we all in this together. We all just be fighting. So Sheryl, thank you. If you're down for a part 2, I would love to get you on the calendar. I know your schedule is all over the place, but I would love to have you on the schedule. So
Thank
y'all
you for having me.
Oh,
guys.
most deaf. So we're not even gonna close Sheryl out. We're gonna let her be here for the benediction. I'm so safe. We're gonna have Sheryl be here for the closing. So I am Donta, host of Donta Show. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Donta_Morrison, Donta_Morrison on the IG. So
on the IG.
Check us out, follow us, make sure to follow us. Dana, are you on Instagram?
I am on
Oh my God.
DNA716. Yes, at DNA716. Follow me there. I spread a lot of love.
Because you don't spread lies.
I spread love.
You don't spread lies.
All right, make sure you check on somebody in case they're just doing bad.
In case they're doing bad, make sure to check them out.
Reach out, say hi, say hello, send a whistle.
Right.
Whatever you got to do, just let them know you're thinking about them.
And if you have not done it yet, please subscribe to the Donta Show on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Dana, how much does it cost?
Nothing, because you're still getting Finger Hut.
Wood is absolutely free. So check
Avon.
So check us out on YouTube. Also, Village, y'all been riding with us since the beginning. We appreciate you. Donta Show Village, there is none like y'all. And tonight was a powerful conversation with special guest Sheryl Bailey Esquire. She dropped the nuggets. Now, I ain't gonna say y'all all go out to buy a gun on tomorrow.
Right.
However, Sheryl put it in your spirit, in your shata, and if God agrees, then you go ahead and get your 9 and you go on down to the range and get ready. I ain't saying the purge is coming, but in the words of Kyrie Sanaj, it's coming. What would I do? Listen, don't sleep on it. So, I ain't gonna say stay woke, but I'm gonna say stay ready and stay prepared. So let's all get together. And Dana has that list of Black-owned banks. We're gonna read it. We out of time.
Yeah,
but on part
lot.
2, we're gonna talk about them Black-owned banks because Sheryl was talking about them dollars. So we're gonna do this one step at a time. We're not gonna eat the whole elephant all at once. We're gonna eat the elephant one step at a time. So until next time, y'all stay safe, be blessed, and we are out. Take care. Good night.
Oh my God. My God.
Just close it out.